All right. So, sorry everyone. I thought I was talking to myself. Hello, I'm Don Adriano, and welcome to another program of La Scena Tête. Today I have rocker Daniel Formica is going to be sharing with us a very special guest, somebody that is a little bit outside of the realm of the classical music, but I thought it was important and interesting to bring somebody with a new perspective, and particularly a vocalist of his level. He sang with finalist of American Idol. He sang for Hugh Hefner. He sang with Real Speed Bandwagon. I mean, a bunch of things, a bunch of groups, and he also is a great voice teacher. So I thought it was an interesting different program to bring to you. I met Daniel actually because he's also a very big opera fan. He loves Tito Schipa, he loves Pavarotti. He's friends with Cariotis, which is like a kind of crossover rock singer, and studied with Arrigo Pola. And I met him by Facebook. We started we were in the same forum for singers, and he started sending me messages where he's like, "Man, I'm really interested in opera, and I want to know more about it. What do you think of this vocalized? What do you think of that?" And I was really impressed by honestly by already the quality of his operatic voice. And I said, okay. I started telling him some tips, and that's how we began the conversation. And I'm so happy today to have him around. But before we start, I have some big announcement to make. Actually, we're gonna be organizing. There you see it, le concert de fête, the holiday concert for La Scena Musicale, to put a bit of a Christmas spirit, to put a bit of joy in your life. We have great singers in there. We have Hugo Laporte. We have Chantal Dion. And, those are the names that come right away. But we have some other great singers. I'm going to be singing too. I'm going to be bringing and we're going to be premiering a quartet I have with Charles Broquiero and Valérie Poisson called Time Travel Quartet. And we're going to do a little quartet there for Chris with a really nice Christmas song. And so I invite you there. We're going to be live on Facebook and YouTube on Sunday, the 20th of December at 3, like you say there. Keep your eyes open for that. A lot of things coming up with that. We have a contest that we're going to do for that too, with a big prize that's going to be announced December 1st. So you might be wanting to participate in that. Other than that, we have the greetings cards. We just releasing that for Christmas. They're going to be available in myshena.org under from Monday, actually. From Monday on La Scena, share a bit of the joy, send some messages, and, get a little bit out of the computer and writing, writing with your real hand and sharing your friends. I love the Caruso one. If you like to send me one, I gladly have one for Christmas with a little message, but I'm going to be sending myself. So don't be surprised if you get one. If I know you, you get one you get a mail for me. So I think that's all for now for the announcements as well. I'm gonna the last announcement, actually, we still have the Corona Serenades going, and our singers are ready to deliver some carols dedicated to you. To know how to get one carol dedicated to you, one Christmas carol, or your song, really, whatever song you like or you like to send to a friend, go to coronaserenades.com and find out about that. It's really a great way to show some love and appreciation for your loved ones, and to dedicate a little something, in those difficult times where we cannot necessarily see each other. But so that's it. Without further ado, I'm gonna make Daniel Formica. I think he's waiting around, so we can start now. Daniel, can you see me?
I can see you.
Welcome to the program, man.
What's happening?
Well, the snow started today in Montreal. It's beginning to look like Christmas.
You guys are tough over there to hang with that cold.
Oh
Oh
my.
man, it's cold there.
You have no
Cold.
idea. I've become a savage Viking. Like people. Sometimes I go outside, no nothing, and no sweater, no nothing, and people are like, what the fuck? Aren't you Mexican? And I say, well, first off, I'm not Mexican, and second, I don't care. Like I don't feel the cold as much. But yes, it gets to -30 sometimes, huh? -50 even.
Yeah, that's rough.
Where are you right now? You're in
I'm
Cali.
in California, but it's about 3.5 hours north of Los Angeles and 3.5 hours south of San Francisco on the coast. It's called it's San Luis Obispo.
Okay, great, great,
So
great.
it's small. I live in a little town called Morro Bay. It's like a little beach town.
Yeah.
Just it's cool. I like it because it's really there's not a lot of people. Like there's never any traffic. But there's really nowhere to go, nothing to do.
Oh,
it's
you have
pretty.
your music.
Yeah, well, since COVID, it's been like this is actually I'm so excited because I actually like put a shirt on, I took a shower. I'm like, whoa, this is awesome! I get to do something because I'm teaching during the day, and my students like must think I'm a maniac because I'm just like hair disheveled, never showered. Okay, here we go. Let's run through some
You
stories.
open you
Yeah,
open the door with a cigarette and the vodka in the hand.
yeah. It's so it was kind of nice to do something today. Like, oh boy, I don't have to. I can actually clean myself up a little bit and do something because it's been do nothing for months. For
Great, man.
everybody, yeah, we're all in it
Yeah,
together.
yeah, yeah. Are there any sort of gigs around?
No, I mean, there's some people doing some like there's a couple like sort of restaurants around here that I think people. I have a friend of mine. He's like, yeah, but we're keeping it hush. He's not really telling a lot of people, but they're kind of playing their acoustic shows. But there's nothing. No, there's nothing. And they're like the bands that I tour with, a corporate band that I tour with called World Classic Rockers. They're like, we've been done since it all started. I
Oh,
was their last gig when we were coming home. People were starting to wear masks and stuff. It was like February.
hmm.
It was
Wow.
starting. That's when it started, and that was the last time did any gigs.
And so, are you into this live stream gigs thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've not well. I haven't done a live stream gig yet, but I've done me and the guitar player. There's a guitar player that I played with. His name is Jeff, and I played with him in a band called Spasmatics a couple times years ago
Yeah.
as a sub up in San Francisco. I would go up and sub for their singer if he got sick or something. And I met him, and he called during this whole thing. He was like, "Hey, I want to do some songs. Would you want to sing on a few of them?" And I was like, "Yeah." So we started doing it, and it started getting. I really started to enjoy it because I've never been a studio singer. Like I've just always been live. So I bought like a new piece of gear, and kind of started getting excited about it. And we've been having fun, like really challenging songs I thought I could never really sing, and been having a lot of fun with it. And now we're talking about a live stream, like where could we do it? Like, if I go to San Francisco and bring a couple of my guys from LA up, or there's a place here we could probably do it. My buddy owns a nice studio that it would look really nice. So
Yeah.
maybe something soon.
Uh,
I don't know. We'll see.
yeah. Well, I hope I hope you can figure it out. This is yeah, it's tough, tough, tough.
It's tough going your whole life, and then it's just everything's boink, and
Yeah, yeah,
oh,
yeah.
there's none of that thing that you've been doing for so long. Like, what? I don't get to do any of this.
But
Like,
you're allowed, like you said, you're allowed over there to have at least your students come to your house
no. I'm everything online.
really?
Yeah.
Okay, not even that.
No, I only have in this area. I'm sure if I decided to teach little kids, I'd have more students, but I won't teach little kids. So the young, most of the time I just teach. The youngest guy I got is 17,
Okay, yeah.
16, 17, and he's like into it. He's on a Netflix show called Julie and the Phantoms, I think it's called,
What?
and he's in a band on the show. Like
Oh wow.
it's a
Okay,
show.
serious.
Yeah, he's on a series. So he happens to live in town. I got a hold of me, and he's the coolest dude. He's like young kid, but he's like into Zeppelin, and he's into rock and roll,
Right.
and it's just so cool, like to see a kid like that. So I started teaching him a while back, and he's really coming along. So that's the only student I have in town, but even he still does Skype with me, and he's only a few miles away.
Yeah.
But I just no interaction, no nothing.
Oh well, man. So look, so I wanted. I mean, I guess we started already, but I always liked at the beginning, to let the people like a little bit talk about themselves, like where, like who they are, what they do, and how they became where they are at this point, how they
Uh,
got there. So I guess yeah, that's one of the things that I wanted to start with too.
okay. Um, just how I like got into singing, or like it,
Yeah,
like
like a little bit your path, like let's say from even young age, like how
yeah,
you got into that and how things evolve and all that.
yeah. Well, at a young age, I started. I went to a dance. I think it was eighth grade. A dance at my eighth grade junior high school, and there was a band playing, and I just remember like watching the band, and I just it's something just went. I want to do that. I don't know why. I mean, I was into music and stuff, but I was more into like martial arts and stuff. And at that point, that's all I was doing. And I was like, I was watching the guitar player. I'm like, I want to play guitar like that. I want to do that. You know what I mean? So I started getting into guitar and started playing. My mother's friend had a student had a son that taught guitar, so I would go over to his house. His name was Frank, and he started showing me some stuff. And I had a friend in school that played, and I became good friends with him. And I did that for a while, and we put our band together in high school, and we had our buddy Greg sing, and I always wanted to sing. Like from that moment, I always wanted to sing, and I did one gig in high school with a Van Halen tribute band because their singer got sick or something. They asked me to sing, and I said, okay, I'll do it. And it was so much fun, and I wanted to do it. And I didn't know what I was doing, but I just tried to learn the songs the best I could. And I knew I wanted to sing, but people would say to me, like family and friends, nobody in my family was musical. And a lot of my family, was just like, oh, you should stick with guitar. You're like a background singer. You know what I mean? You should like just a guitar and sing. And I kept hearing that through years, like, oh, you got a good background singer voice. And I
What's
figured that, I didn't know, I just figured that was a thing.
But how
Like,
is that
oh,
a thing? Like what as a background? Honestly, okay, now that you sorry, a little bit of a sideway here, but honestly, like I hear I don't know any like Ray Charles or some of the new, even well, the new, I don't know the new anymore, but like
yeah,
Britney Spears, or and I hear the background singers, and I'm sorry, they sing better than
right, 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 exactly.
So I mean, for me that's a compliment.
Yeah, but being a kid, like I didn't know what it meant. I didn't know what being a singer was. And like in high school, my whole band was a four-piece like rock band we had, and we decided to take chorus together. Like, hey, let's take the chorus. And it'll be easy. I was a junior or a senior, and I was like, yeah, okay. And it was just us and all girls, so we were like, woohoo, it's gonna be awesome. And we would bring stuff to our teacher afterwards. Our the piano player teacher who was teaching the chorus class, her name was Miss Benoit, and we would bring her like Journey and Iron Maiden and Judas Priest and the rock and roll stuff that we were into, and we're like, how do
Easy
we get
stuff.
our easy stuff? How do we get our singer to sing this? Like, we want him to do
Oh my
this.
God, poor guy.
And she would just go, oh, that's screaming. So then that happened. So then there was, oh, you're a background singer, and that's just screaming. You either scream like that or that's it. You don't do it. I was like, oh, I'm sticking guitar. And that was it. I just played guitar, and I got into a good band that toured around the East Coast. And then we moved to California, and we found a new singer out there, and we did really, really well. And I really loved that band. It was all originals. I always never really played much in cover bands, and it was an original band, and it was fun. And that went for 4 or 5 years. I moved there when I was like 19.
Oh, okay.
And
Alone.
yeah, we just with the band, we got in our band and
Wow.
drove cross
Okay, the
country.
whole the
Yeah,
rocking.
yeah, try to do the rock and roll.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know, and it was a great experience. And then finally, that band was starting to break up, and it came up again, like something in the back of my mind. I was like, you want to be a singer? What are you doing? Like, you're playing guitar, and you're like, I'm very respectful of an instrument. I practiced all the time. I used to practice 6 hours a day, like to try to play like Yngwie. And I had this great teacher, Jimmy Bell, who was this phenomenal guitar teacher in Connecticut before I moved. Who's still out there. He's phenomenal, Jimmy Bell. And I said, I want to be the best. And, but never, I thought I was okay, but I was always like watching the singers. Like, why am I, like, even my singer, I loved my singer, was amazing. And I was just really into it. And then finally that band kind of broke up, and I said, I'm going to sing now. That's it. I'm 20, 24 at this point. And I said, I'm going to learn to sing. So I took some lessons from a lady named Gloria Rush, who has passed away since. She had like a couple people on her roster, like in LA. It was right before I moved back to Connecticut. In LA, there's a million vocal coaches back then. This is in 94, 93. And there was like, you know, this person taught Stevie Wonder, this person taught blah, 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 this person, blah, blah, blah. And I saw her, and she taught the guys from Mr. Big and a band called After Seven, R&B band that I liked, like a soul band. And I was always really into soul music, and Prince was like one of my favorite artists. And I was really into this. So I was like, I think I just go to this lady. She seems like she knows what's up. So I went to her, and she gave me some exercises, which I still have. I actually found the cassette tape like recently.
Wow, that's crazy.
And it was like some stuff that she had me do, like just kind of yodeling on octaves, jumps, and then staying in my falsetto, just doing like a all the way down low as you can go in your falsetto, all the way high you can go in your falsetto. Doing that kind of a thing. And I kept that tape forever. And when I moved back to Connecticut, I went down, I asked my mom if I could move back home for a short time and live in the basement. And I lived in the basement, and I learned a bunch of acoustic songs, like Sam Cooke songs, Otis Redding, big fan of Rod Stewart at the time, Paul Rodgers from Bad Company Free. Like that was like the guys. I was like, okay, I can learn these on guitar and play them alone if I had to, just acoustic.
Yeah.
And I just started learning songs. And then my buddy had a bar, and I went to the bar. Hey, can I play here on Tuesday nights? I said, yeah. So I decided to play. And then my friend said, well, I'll play drums. And I know that, and my other friend said, I know a guy with a PA and a keyboard. I said, all right, let's make it a party. So we just started doing that, and it became every Tuesday night for years. Like it became a scene. And then we started getting Friday nights somewhere else and Saturday nights. And then, and I was still using those tapes to warm up. I didn't really know what I was doing. I was just doing the tapes. Just, well, okay, my voice would be shot every other day. It was, that was awful. But I was just doing my best. And you're young, your voice heals fast. If you blow it out, it just kind of comes back quick.
Yeah, it's just crazy.
Yeah. And then I got involved a couple years into that. There was an audition for a band in New York called the Boogie Nights. And they had I knew of them from LA, and they had a huge, like corporation. They had bands in Florida and bands in Texas and bands in Seattle and bands in Chicago. And they were starting a band in New York. And I said, I know that band. And so I took this guitar player who was a really good R&B player, funk player named Tommy. And I said, dude, you'd be great for this because you're so good at this soul stuff. So let's go to this audition. And we got the audition. And then they did a headcutters where they called us another night back, and they had us go up on stage. Okay, you singer, you go up with those three guys. Okay, bass player, come down, you bass player, go up. And they were just like figuring out what was the band that they wanted to put together. And I made the A band with my guitar player. And I'm still going, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. And now I've got to sing Gloria Gaynor, Donna Summer, only a half step down. The band tuned to E flat to yeah. So it was just a half step down. The guitars were just a half step down. But I had to sing girl songs. I go on now, go walk out the door, just turn around now. Those type of songs. And bad girls. And I had to sing them full voice. I couldn't go and sing them falsetto. So now I'm blowing out my voice, and somebody gives me the Seth Riggs tapes. And that was my first introduction of that. Again, you get the tapes. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just trying my best, and I'm looking for vocal teachers. And at this time I have no money, and there's like vocal coaches in New York that are popular at the time. And I'm like, just keep doing it. But I'm doing all right, but I'm blowing my voice out, but I have a sub. So if I blow my voice out and I got a gig the next night, I could go, yo, Raj, you got to do the gig. Okay, no problem.
Okay,
the gig. Now they're making more money than me because I'm blowing my voice out constantly. I'm like, man, this is not what I want for my life. And I just did that for years, dude. 4 or 5 years. I did it in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Then I moved to Chicago, did it in Chicago with a band there. And that's when I started making money. And when I went to Atlanta, I found a teacher who was really good. She was a jazz singer. She kind of helped me understand it a little. Looking back now, I go, she was right. If I just did the simple thing that she said to do, probably would have got better faster.
Hmm.
And you had a lot to play in this, and you don't even know that you had something to play in my whole journey, but I'm going to tell you that.
So
And so then I moved to Chicago, and when I took lessons with a teacher in Chicago, someone sent me to this guy and said, this guy's the best. Everyone tries to get in. He'll accept you because you're in this popular band in the area. I said, okay.
yeah.
So I go to the guy, and he's an old opera singer, and he's telling me to go like, ah, 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 and he's doing these sounds, and I'm like, how the heck am I going to sing Journey and Bad Girls and
No way.
Stevie Wonder with this thing?
Yeah.
But in hindsight, he was right. He was right. Because I was always trying to go at it like all these other teachers I would meet would be like, okay, so nothing in the throat, and you have to be very soft. Ah, and I was like, it was working because I was young, and I was just, once I warmed up, I could yell for the night and I'd be good, and some nights blow it out, some nights not. But at least I'm, singing. So I'm like, all right, this is good. I'm making a living. But like, yeah, we're doing shows, on TV shows. I did the RuPaul show. I'm like, I'm going on TV shows, and I'm like, I'm making it. But I know in the back of my mind, I don't know what the heck I'm doing. And whenever I would get with a good singer, I could hear on their mic and in the monitor how full and beautiful their voice was. And mine was like puny and airy and reachy. It sounds like I'm reaching. And I was like, it was such a bummer, man. And I went through this for years, up until maybe 5 years ago. I'm 51 years old. I'm telling you. And when I got back out to LA at like 32, 33 years old, I took from everybody, because now I have money, because I'm working, gigging, I'm making good bread, and I just spending my money on vocal teachers. And again, I'm not figuring it out, because now I'm going to these corporate gigs with other singers again, and they're just loud and beautiful. And I'm like, take my mic. I think my mic's wrong. Sound man, tell me. But still, they're better. And I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. And this was always in the back of my mind. And people will be like, no, man, you sound good. You sound good, Dan. You're still working. Everything's good. And I think musically I was okay, because I play guitar. So I understood music, and I could follow melody nice.
Yeah.
But I always knew like there was something up. And then when I got older, like when I hit around 42, I started my voice just wouldn't heal anymore, like quickly.
Yeah.
And I'm practicing more, and my range is starting to dwindle, and I know this. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to be that guy. I'm not going to be that rock or soul singer, whatever, that has to bring the keys down. I just didn't believe in that. And I was on this last ditch effort. And by the way, I mean, I studied with so many people,
Yeah, during this time, yeah.
If you name any of the famous coaches in California, I studied with them. Like,
yeah. No, I saw the list. Actually, I'm gonna take a note here, because I think we might have seen the same coach. In fact, I know this, and so I wanted some takeaways from that. But just taking a note here aside.
Oh, okay, good. And it got down to the point, like, I'm like, maybe it's I'm not hearing what they want me to do, but none of them sang. Not one of these coaches actually sang. So I'm like, I'm trying, and I had this last ditch, and I had probably Googled it before, but I Googled like Pavarotti voice coach, and I'm like, I'm just going deep, I know nothing about classical music, but I know his technique was really solid, and everyone talked about it. When you go on forums, I was, talking about him or Corelli, and I'm like, all right, Pavarotti technique, Italy technique. I'm ready to fly to Italy. I'm ready to just learn, like start from the ground up. Oops. And I don't know why that's my sister. and I find this guy, Alex Kariotis. And it's funny, if you talk to him, now we're really good friends, and he's a sweetheart. And I mean, he's become a really good buddy. And when I found him, I saw his thing where he would do like pop stuff into the arias. I was like, okay, that's cool. And I could hear, but I'm like, okay, that's recorded though. I got to hear something live. And then I found him doing the national anthem, and he did it like Fenway Park. He did it in New York. I want to say New York. He did it in Chicago, like these different ballparks, big games. And it was, every single one was the same, like dead on. And it reminds me of like, whenever you see Jennifer Hudson, I'm a big fan of Jennifer Hudson. She's always dead on. There's no flat, sharp. There's no. It's beautiful always. And she's not like, oh, I don't feel like singing today. She's like, okay, well, what do we do? Like, let me warm up. She doesn't warm up. She just knows her voice so well because she's been doing it in the church and probably since she was a little one, hearing auntie and grandma and mommy and everyone sing, and she comes out, which I should show a video of this little girl that I just found that was unbelievable, like 6 years old, blew my mind.
Wow, okay.
But and I called him, and he wasn't going to take me as a student. And I said, come on, man, I'm not a joker. I'm not this guy that's going to be the flake. I'm going to take 2 a week. I said, I'm on a last ditch effort. If it's this or I'm just going to go get a job. Finally in my life, just go get a regular job. And I hadn't worked since I was like 22, 23. I'd worked a couple of music stores, but I'd made my living singing. And I was like, are you bullshit? Because I was done like with bullshit. And I was like, can I say shit on this thing?
No, don't worry, man. Yes, no problem.
Okay. So I was like that to him. I was like, and he's like kind of laughing. And I'm like, because you got to understand where I'm coming from, dude. I've heard it all. I've heard every color and blah, blah, blah. I can make you good. I can and maybe I'm not smart enough to get this. He says, okay. So I end up working with him, and I'm blown away.
Call him on bullshit.
Yeah. And we get on Skype, and we go and he's distorting his microphone on his end, and I'm like, oh, you got to back up. And then I'm just like, and every lesson he sings and he's dead on. Like there's no, he'll be, excuse me. And then it'll go again. It's perfect. It's like, I'm like, all right. I hadn't been around a lot of singers like this, except for some of the corporate band singers that I only see on a gig or whatever. Because when you meet really good singers that are just kind of not natural, but they grow up doing it and they don't study, they just sing. They don't like talking about singing.
No, that's true. I've noticed that too.
Yeah, it's like that's just their thing. Like that's to them, that's just taking a sip of their drink. Oh, yeah, that's just it for them. So, and he worked with me very hard and this is where you come in. So for about a year, and I have tried so hard, but after about a year or so, it's even more than a year, I was like, Alex, I'm not getting this. Like, it's not working. He's like, no, man, you're sounding good. He's like, he's very helpful. And I'm like, no, I said, I'm missing something. And I could feel it. Yes, sometimes I'm better than others, but it's throwing a dart at the wall and that's not what I want. And he was always like, the way he explained teaching to me, the way I teach now, it's like, I'm going to give you a roadmap. This roadmap will work. It is a roadmap. So this way you have a direct, target to go to. There's no ands, ifs, or buts. And you're going to strengthen these registers. You're going to do this, and you'll be successful all the time, which my voice is now. I'm very happy. Like, I could just wake up, high B flat. Like, I don't think about it anymore. You know what I mean? Took me long enough. But, he was like, no, man, you're going to get it. It's going to take a while. That took me a long time. And, he was a very talented musician already. His brother, rest in peace, was a great rock singer. And he gave that to Alex. And then Alex went and studied at first to college. And then he went to Mannes College in New York and studied with Dan Merrick. And he also studied with the, who's the guy? The guy that teaches, he's more about Nico Castell, I think his name is.
Nico Castell.
He studied with him for language and that. Yeah. And so his background was really cool. And was I going? So he was coming. Dan Merrick had taught him the technique that Dan Merrick taught him was from Burton Coffin. And that's what Alex was teaching me. Burton Coffin wrote a couple books over the bel canto, and it's about basically it's the vowel determines the register. He doesn't talk about support much because I think he wrote these books. They're just written for opera singers that already know how to use their voice. He's fine tuning them basically. And so that whole concept of the vowel equals the register was what we worked on. But I was still missing something. And it was, I guess, someone might call it support. Somebody else might call it core closure, not leaning in hard enough.
Yeah.
And I was missing all these things. And I decided to back off for a second. And then there was a few things that happened. And one of them was you. I didn't know you. Yeah, no, we talked. Remember, we talked a few times on Facebook, but we didn't know each
Messenger.
other.
No. I was like,
Yeah.
who the fuck is this? Who the fuck is this guy? And like I said at the beginning, I said, "Whoa, he's actually quite good. Like as a opera like beginner, let's say." I said, "Look, well, he's actually way better than some opera singers that I know."
You said, because you said this, because I said to you in the conversation, I said, "Hey man, let me ask you a question, because you know more about the opera world than I did and all that." And I go, or not opera world, but just singing. I was so confused. And I said, when you're singing up higher and you're going through the passaggio, I go, is it like a fake voice? And you said, yeah. You kind of said, yeah. And I went, do you mean sort of like this? And I sent you a clip of me just doing like a Rossini scale.
Yeah.
And I kind of did what I considered my fake opera man, which I would never use, but I did. So it's kind of like over covering. I was leaning on the larynx kind of a thing, but I could do this sound, but I just never use it. And you were like, yeah, man, you could get an opera gig with that kind of voice. That's what you said. And I was like, there was just an aha moment. At that moment, then things started to appear. I always read Great Singers on Singing, that famous book.
Yeah.
And if you read about what Pavarotti says about the passaggio and singing, he basically says kind of the same thing, that people think a lot of singers think it's wrong when you first start getting it, and they get red in the face and there's this pressure and it feels squeezed. He said, squeezed. What? I've never met a vocal coach that said squeeze. Never. But he says it. He actually, and I go, okay, that's kind of what I feel. I feel a pressure anyway. That I never felt when I was singing pop stuff, but I couldn't sing high rock stuff, solid, only once in a while. But when I would add this thing, whether you call it support, squeeze, whatever you want to call it, all of a sudden I could sing these rock tunes or these higher and very cleanly, very piercing, So that was number 2. There was you said that. He says this in the book. Then even in Seth Riggs's book, this first book, he says on page 31, I believe, 31 to 33, he says at the bottom, but be careful, speech level singing does not mean sing like you speak. And every speech level teacher I had been to was like, oh, it's just speaking up on a higher pitch. So I think, I was just thinking, oh, that's going to get better. No, that doesn't ever get better. It gets better. That's just what it is. So, that all of a sudden that goes ding, that goes off in my brain. Now I've already seen all these things in my life, but that was a ding. Then I went to Spain and I got to take 2 lessons with an opera teacher there who didn't want to tape me because I didn't speak Spanish, but my wife and my daughter both speak a little. So I said, I'll bring my wife, but please, he studied with Alfredo Kraus.
Okay.
So please, I really want to see what you do, and maybe you could help me. And he was like, okay. And I had a lot of time. We were just like hanging out, in Barcelona. He was right down the street from where I was staying. So I went and he goes, okay, sing something for me. I just sang something. And he was like, that's pretty. It's not your voice. That's what he said. He goes, pretty, not your voice. And then he did a scale and it like lit the room up, like when I would be with Alex and the freaking walls would shake. And I have Alex, just stop. It hurts. Like that's how like it zings straight out this. And I was just like, you're right. Well, okay. So he started taking me through scales. No, not wide, do. Now he's like deeper, deep. And I'm trying more. I'm like, in my mind, I went, all right, I'm going to fool this guy. I'm going to do my fake opera man. See what he says. So I go, but no. In my fake opera man voice, and it's very loud and it's pressing. And he goes, his eyes go like, that was beautiful. Yes, again. Yes. And I go, hold on, wait. Pressure here. He goes, yes. Now 2 months from now, no. And I was like, that was another little poing, little moment. And from that moment on, I had one more gig I had to do when I got home. I had to do something in Mexico. I was in Cabo. I had to go to Cabo to do a corporate gig. And I was warming up, and I'm sitting in my hotel room, and beautiful hotel room, looking at the ocean. I'm kind of warming up for the gig. And I'm like, all right, this is the last time I'm singing wrong or without this voice. This is it. And I did the gig and everything was fine. And that was it. That was my moment of, I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm going to figure this out. And he was right. It took about 2 months of just constant digging in, everything that every other teacher told me not to do. even Alex, I would say, well, Alex, I could do this thing. It's a little, every time I made a sound, even with some of the teachers I had in the past, I would do this fake opera voice. I say, I could do this thing. And I do this thing. And they go, yeah, that's really good. What are you doing? I go, I'm kind of squeezing in here. Don't do that. Don't do that. And, it's like, it's very loud. And no, it doesn't have to be that loud. It's soft. And so I just figured, okay, there must be another way to find this. Well, there wasn't. I needed to go through that in order to gain control, I guess.
Well, I think, I don't know if you agree with me, but I think in singing circles, sometimes in the academia, we leave this in opera too, like people expect this is a risky business in the sense that it's an athletic movement, and it's not going to come from God, it's not going to come from the La Vierge Marie that comes, saves you and give you a voice because you're relaxed. Most of the people that I hear that, at least at the beginning, when they are forming their voices, they just end up either being nasal or they don't project or anything. You need certain level of vocal cord closure, first of all, and of laryngeal support too. The sound comes from your larynx. It doesn't come even from your belly, like some people say. No, that's the support that you feel, but it comes from here. That's where the thing happens. So if you don't know this, you don't know where is your larynx, you don't know that you have to do some action there. Well, I don't know how far can you go,
I absolutely 100%. I mean, that's now as far with when I meet a new student and we talk, that's the first thing I say. Remember, everything comes from here. Nothing comes from your head.
No.
It comes from here. But my teacher said I need to let this be loose. And, yes. Yeah. No. You know what I mean? Some people might just be, naturally, do you ever meet that person that you'll be at a bar and you could just hear that dude laughing from across the room?
Yeah, that's
that guy's lucky.
Talent.
He's got it. Yeah. But most people know, like when I used to go to a bar, if I go to a bar and I wasn't gigging, I'd usually lose my voice just talking.
Yeah.
That was my makeup of my voice.
No, it depends. And like you say, it's not, it doesn't come from anywhere than there. And I think that's really difficult because you can, I have to say some great singers, they have injured themselves, like Mario del Monaco. It's a great tenor, one of the best in the history. Did he exaggerate? Yes. But that doesn't take away from the fact that he was one of the most incredible opera voices, Like it doesn't come without risk. It's like a basketball player. Go and win the game, but don't force anything. That's at one point, if you want to win the championship, you kind of have to force and that comes with it, that there's a danger to singing all the time. That just like in speaking, people that speak for a living too, they get tired and sometimes they get nodules or whatever, and that's a little bit goes with the career. I think in singing we want to tell stories of how it's just like birds flying and all that, and I don't.
Well, I can look back and go, I used to blow my voice out a lot. I could get it back by the end of the next day. It would come, and then I'd go to my gig, and my life was a constant warm up. It was wake up in the morning, go to the gym and then do a warm up for a little bit and then rest or whatever, then eat dinner and then do a warm up, get in the car, go to the gig, warm up, sing the gig, get in the car, warm down, drive home, wake up, be hoarse as heck. Don't worry, Dan, it's going to be okay. Wait a few hours, eat everything, start warming up again. Blah, blah, blah. Voice isn't really there. Falsetto's beat, start it up again. It was now, this is where once I started to be stronger, louder, more aggressive, more physical, like you're saying, it's a physical. I haven't lost my voice in a long time. I can't remember when. Like it's not going to happen. And I sing way more challenging songs now than with the bands that I sing with than I ever did, because I would shy away from things.
Yeah, of course you're scared. It's just like
talking about something physical. Am I able to share my screen? I want to show you something it's so great for this conversation.
Oh shit! I don't think so. Try.
Oh, let me see if I can.
Do you see the share button there?
Yeah. Let me know. Do you see?
Oh yeah, I can see it.
Okay. Listen to this.
Let me ask my technician, Charles. Are you seeing that screen? Okay, he's not answering to me.
Yes, I am.
I can hear the sound too.
Can you hear the sound? So I want to play you this little girl I just found. I want to talk about physical, that she is not trying to be easy on the voice. And somebody told her, his grandma or auntie or whoever, I want to look at this little girl. Can't be more than 6 years old, this little girl.
All right, let's go.
Listen to the clarity of her vowels, just how clear they are. It's beautiful. Come on, man. Her ooh vowels, her e vowels, everything's just beautiful. Just beautiful.
Wow. No, that's incredible. How do you know how old is she? Well, not that it matters really, because I
think 6. For some reason, I want to say 6. Like I saw in the thing, it might have said 6. So I put it up on my little forum there, singing answers for teachers and singers, or whatever it's called. But I'm amazed. Like that was even that just changed my whole way of thinking about the voice again. I was like, that's incredible. It. Man. It's just clarity. You sing that vowel with an intent, and you don't stray from the vowel. That's it. The vowel. And Alex used to drill me. Alex, my lessons were Alex. Are you leaning? Is that the vowel you want? Are you leaning? Is that the vowel? I think too many people rely on manipulations. Yeah. The yawning, or this and that. I'm going to anchor, I'm going to yawn, and forget, what vowel am I singing? When you hear her singing E vowel or oo vowel, it is E, it is oo, it's like bam, 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 little lasers. Bam, bam, bam.
So Dan, I just wanted to just acknowledge if for the people that's watching and to invite them to participate with questions if you have any questions. So I'm gonna look here to the right of my screen, see if we got something going on, so I can bring some of those questions to you. But I still have a lot of questions to go. So awesome. Just to say hi and then see who's there. Wait a second.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just I want to say hi to I don't know who's that, but video hair rebarb.
Oh, that's my friend Bob. He's a singer from upstate New York. Really good singer.
So he's really happy, saying that this is great. He's talking about the cry. Yeah, that's interesting there. Dino Spacian is here. Hi, Dino. Bonsoir from Montreal. Benjamin Tan, he's saying basketball analogy is good one. Well, thank you. I love basketball, so that's why I brought that up. Matt Corey is asking if Dan could sing. I see. He's putting you on the spot, basically. And the Luke Streeter. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. I don't know if that's maybe a German name. So anyways, he's asking, why do so many advocate vowel mods? So I guess that's vowel modification. I don't know. That's a question. I don't know. You want to answer that?
Yeah, I mean, by vowel mods, I think a lot. Thinking about like the science of singing and all these type of things that are coming now, starting to be more prevalent, right? When you think about vowel mods, if you're training the voice, so think of a ballerina. A ballerina has got to learn to get on her tippy toes.
Yeah.
Right? And then 5 years from now, she's got to be on stage and look like she's doing nothing. So the amount of strength and control you have to have, because the minute you don't give any, you don't support and don't strength, she's breaking a toe, she's breaking an ankle.
Right, yeah.
So there's so much tension and strength going into that. And I believe the same thing with the voice. And I think with the vowel mods is people talk about vowel mods. A lot of people do them like wrong direction. they do the modification the wrong direction. I look at it as in training, not in singing. So if you're training someone to go through the passaggio, I'm not going to train them on an ah. I'm not going to train them on an ah. I'm not going to train them on something wide open. I'm going to make, what is the passaggio? It's the passageway to the high voice.
Yeah.
So I'm going to train them in the way that it was explained to me, the way that a lot of the Italians, they didn't use the word cover. Pavarotti used it in the famous masterclass.
Yeah.
Because he was talking with Americans, like he's talking with those people. Yeah. So he's going to use a word that were created here to talk about something. But what I believe, what was explained to me a couple different times from a couple different really good opera singers, Alex being one of them, was they didn't talk like that. They just talked. They would say aperto, chiusa, open, close.
Yeah.
And when you were going through, when Alex took from Pola and you would be going through a long scale, when you would get to the E, F, right around there, you say close. Oh, sing the close. If you're singing ah on the bottom and you and close and then open. And there's many videos of Pavarotti you've seen doing this.
Yes.
Doing this, And I think that vowel mod is what's important. It's, yes, you have to train the voice to build that. You're building your roadmap. You're building it stronger. The tippy toes of a ballerina, stronger. But then you sing, once you get it, you realize you can sing the other vowels, any vowel, in your spot, in the spot of the passaggio, above, below. Doesn't matter the vowel, because you built the strength of that. But without that, you'd be you'd be doing that. You know what I mean? It's stupid.
but actually, a question from my side is like, because I don't understand why a pop singer needs vowel music. I don't hear it. I hear singers doing all the way till the top, and then they kind of flip into sort of what I will call a reinforced falsetto, for the.
Yeah.
So I don't. What's the point for like a rock singer to modify, because some vowels like E, it's already covered in a way,
Yes, yeah, you already covered all the way up and down, so you don't worry about it. But most rocks, like a lot of singers, right? They're I can't sing E and U on a B flat or an A or whatever, because they haven't trained the passaggio right. And when you say most pop singing, when you say pop singing, yes, it depends on the pop singer. I mean, if you're talking about the new, and I'm gonna squat, people are gonna rage on me for this, but I don't really care. If you're talking about the Justin Biebers of the world and the Shawn Mendes, these guys have very pretty voices. They write for a certain type of song. You can't ask, if that dude tried to sing Jefferson Starship Jane or Smoking by Boston, they could not do that. not with that technique, because you're right. They go to a reinforced falsetto. I know this because I did it for, I don't know how many years. I can't, I did it for 20 years of singing probably.
But I mean, that falsetto kicks in like a high, like a C, D, those high. Otherwise, it's too fluttery. It's too weak.
But the good pop singers are the good, like you take a Jennifer Hudson, you take a Mars, you take Stevie Wonder. They do not use reinforced falsetto. They are using exactly what you were using for classical technique. It's just not as deep and not as huge. But the way they're using the voice, the function of the voice is the same. 100%.
But again, about the model, so you still find like for yourself, for example, when you it depends, of course, what you're singing. But let's say you're not trying to sing classical at all, or not trying to do that. You don't think about modifying your vowel. Like I at least I don't hear it. That's why it's kind of a question for me. I hear like a clear or even sometimes like.
Depends on where I'm at. If I'm on a high C,
well,
I'm But if I'm at a
I'm talking more about like passaggio area, like sol, la bemol, fa diez. Sorry, I'm talking French.
I don't understand.
A flat, G, F sharp. I've never hear like I don't see like how you train that zone so it's comfortable.
I do it like this. So if I say, I take it from an E vowel. I'm not going I'm going E to
That's a vowel modification already for you?
Well, it's not much. I mean, that's weird.
That's crazy. No, but that's the level of difference, because for me that was kind of just
Yeah,
like,
if I go
for my ear, like I'm used to like that sound in an opera sing is more like than You know what I mean?
If I let it fall out on it's gonna fall out.
Okay, yeah, okay, you're right.
It's not
Yeah.
Falls out a little bit. It doesn't feel as it feels like I gotta chase it.
Yeah.
What I would consider the Burton Coffin terms, upper chest. I'm gonna have to chase that It's too much pressure. But the feels nice and tiny because I'm singing the like the E. I'm not letting it fall out of the position of the E.
No, so you're kind of leading a lot into that type of narrowness. Actually, that's at least from it's a bad sound right now, but it feels to me like that. It's very narrow. It's not necessarily covered like in an opera way, but it's very narrow. Like in opera, you have to be narrow too.
Yeah, it's like a little laser. Narrow laser that I have to find that, because if I get too big, it could fall out, and then I'm chasing. Like I said, I'm chasing. It's like upper chest is like that's a lot of work, and if I got to get to a high C from from there,
it's impossible. No, it's
I have to keep it. I have to keep it in line. I can't go. I can't be flailed on that G and then expect to get to the high C. It's not going to work for me. Does that make sense? You know what I mean?
Yeah, no. Yes, it totally makes sense. Yeah.
So I guess it always comes.
It's just a matter of position, actually. What I, and that's how crazy. Like when I heard you, I say, it's just a little difference actually.
Yeah,
between that and singing an actual like Pavarotti style. Pavarotti's Pavarotti, but like that type of sound, it's just a matter like it's of position, but really the pressure, all that is the same, really.
A matter of like I look at it like in a way like a weight feeling. Like I can make a B flat lighter, what you would consider heavier, I guess, and then I can actually make that. I could just add the weight, and to me, when I add that weight, it actually adds a little clarity, and that is more of a in the Burton Coffin. Again, I'm coming back to Burton Coffin because like that's what I was taught. I could going from the B flat. If I add that little bit of weight, which to me is like thickening up the chords. So if the chords, if I go I might be here. Ah, ah, but if I add, ah, ah,
It's the same. It's really the same.
yeah, it's just like a pink. It's like a pinch over.
Yeah.
One of them, it's headier. I can make that headier. And then one of them is the one that if I sang, if I could, it would be more on that. That's what I would go for if I was an opera singer. I'd be going, I got to go to the heavier one. I got to
Yes.
the one's going to be
interesting.
Yeah, it would be it'd be too rock. It's too rock.
Yeah.
You
No,
know?
it's really the shape of the vowel. It's almost it's the style really of it that is different. But it's very similar when you put it in that context.
Yeah.
It really sounds very similar. It's just for me, it's a matter of like it's the harmonics are very different, between both. Like I guess most people won't be able to hear this through a phone like that or through this type of sound configuration, but the tuning of the formants, that's what makes really the difference between the two voices. And the tuning of the formants, well, it's this issue that we're talking about, the deepness in the sound and all this. So
And the coffin thing, the way Alex would explain it to me, and he would demonstrate, and that's what I'm saying. You can never go wrong with a demonstration. When you can go, oh my god, okay, I get it. It's way better than looking at a computer, because you just might not be right. But if someone can hear it, and like a B in opera is not the same B as in Jane, you're playing. That's like this. Jane. It's super slim, but the technique's not far off to where if I'm not going to do that right now, but if I tried to do Jane, I would just add that a little bit. Instead of Jane, I'd say Jen.
Yeah, you drop the vowel a little bit. Yeah,
a little bit of weight. You know what I mean? And then you'd see that one of the whatever in vowel register, one of those formants gets super peaked, like I just did. It's not the fundamental. It's one of those harmonic goes whack.
Yeah, like the third harmonic. Yeah.
Bass. And talking about that, like with the science kind of a thing. One time when Alex came out to visit one time, and I took some personal lessons with him. We were driving around Venice eating tacos. It was hilarious. Tacos and beer all day. And one of my old vocal coaches lived in the area. I said, man, you got to hear my new coach. I want to bring him over. Yeah, come on over. He lived in the area. Super cool. We went over there and Alex sang for him. He was like, we got to get you inside on the Voce Vista or whatever he was using at the time for the program.
Yeah.
And he said, okay, Alex, sing a high B. And Alex, did the high B in operatic.
Yeah.
In that sense. And it showed this, and then we lined it up with it showed Pavarotti's B, and then we lined out, it was the same B. And he was taught by the same, he went and studied with Pola.
Yeah.
Same technique. I was like, wow, it matches up identical. And then he goes, watch. Dan won't be able to do this because he doesn't have your type natural voice, your natural sound. And I did it, and it didn't match up. And Dave went, see? And then Alex went, hold on a second. Dan, open your mouth a little bit more. You got a small mouth. Open your mouth a little bit more. Do the same thing. And then I did it, and it matched up perfectly with Alex. It was hilarious. It was just that. And I think there's no substitute for having a teacher that can hear it and explain it that way, rather than the computer.
No, of course. At the end, well, that's how most people learn music, I guess. It's by imitation, really.
Yeah. Think about that little girl. I mean, what's that girl going to sound like when she's 15?
I don't know. That's scary.
It's going to be to me, like a Jennifer Hudson, just someone that at the drop of a hat can sing a note, can sing anything you want, whatever it is, it does not matter. She's going to have such control and know weights of her voice and where to go. I can't wait. I'm going to follow that girl.
So actually, that since you're touching up on that subject, I guess it's a good time to take a tangent here to talk about you had a little relationship, or you I don't know if you were backup singer or how, to some American Idols winners, and or at least contestants in the finals and all that.
Yep.
So I want to know what's your take on shows like that, first of all, in particular American Idol. How was that experience, and what we don't see on camera, basically?
Yeah, the gigs that I did a gig with Elliot as a backup singer for Elliot Yamin, who was really good. He was one of my favorites. Like I remember, they're one of the first bunch of shows that he was on. After Adam Lambert lost, I stopped watching. I was like, this show's fixed. It's obviously fixed. It's not a singing show. That was an obvious one to me.
Why do you think that happened? Actually, that
I don't know. You see who he lost to? It was, you never heard of that guy again.
No, I don't even. It was like a
Justin Bieber.
The guy with the gray hair. No,
it was a young guy that sang very, just poppy. I don't know who he is. Chris, maybe something. I just remember watching it, going, if this Adam Lambert dude loses, I'm out. Because they were the last two, and I'm like, it's fixed. I'm not doing this anymore. But so I never really watched a lot of the shows. I had a lot of friends that are really good singers. Like my friend Wendy auditioned for The Voice. She went to New York. They got her into a real audition. She didn't have to really wait in line. I don't think she's really good. And she didn't get out. She didn't have like a big story then. I was like, you got to go in there and just lie. Just tell them like you got your leg lopped off and you're fighting for your leg. Go in there with a limp. You just got to do something weird because you're singing. You're so good. It's not gonna matter. I think a lot of because there's so many good singers out there. So you also got to have a little bit of background. You got to have some crazy story to tell. I think. And I had a few singers that were really, really good that I knew that just didn't get on, and I was like, that's just weird. That's just weird to me. Because then you see some of the ones that are on, you're like, they could sing one song, but you couldn't have them sing this song. They'll never be able to do that.
Yeah.
And yeah, after the Adam Lambert one, I was out. But singing background for Elliot Yamin, then the dude that had the gray hair spots, I can't think of it. He actually passed away, I think.
Oh wow. Okay.
Maybe not. There was one of the guys I sang for. There was a girl named Carly who was like sang Heart. She sang a bunch of Heart tunes. She's kind of a rocker.
Uh-huh.
Her and another guy named, I want to say his name was John. He did pass away. He had a heart condition. But yeah, I sang background for both those people for it was called a Presidents of America dinner. Like we used to get hired for these things.
Yeah.
And that was the we're gonna do our set where we're gonna back up the American Idols, and it was fun. It was really easy. Like,
do you think that it's actually worth it participating and winning it? Like I'm terrified of that kind of thing because you're this American Idol winner, you're not anything else.
I guess Adam Lambert was a guy that he wasn't a winner. He was the second place, but he did go on to a huge career, right?
Exactly, but he didn't win.
He didn't win. Who did anybody win that's carried? That's been huge. I don't know because I stopped.
Didn't Jennifer Hudson didn't win?
Didn't win. How does Jennifer Hudson not win?
She didn't win, huh?
I know she didn't win, and she was
It's crazy.
That girl could sing anything, anytime, anywhere. It doesn't matter. That's just that old, like that little girl that we just showed. She's going to be like that. It's like, that's just it. It's like, Shaka Khan or Aretha Franklin. It's like those people could just sing, man. That's the thing. And I guess that's why I didn't really get into American Idol much.
No, I kind of thought it was interesting to know a little bit more about that kind of world because it's been really long that I don't.
I'm with you.
I don't know if it's on anymore. It's not produced anymore, huh?
I swear I don't know. I don't know. And I never liked the judges. Like you're judging a singing competition and you got Paula Abdul. What are we doing? What are we doing? I think Jennifer Hudson does like one of those new ones, does the one with the chairs with spin, the voice, right? The chair spins. I think she's done that with like Tom Jones. Okay, I mean, great. Those are good judges. I concur.
Yeah. Actually, talking about a little bit of the media and then the career of opera of pop singing and all that. I wonder, I thought Daniel for sure has to have like some crazy touring stories or anecdotes. So, so I wanted to ask you about that. What's been the craziest thing you've seen during a show or in backstage that you can tell?
I don't know. I mean, yeah, just so many. Like I did some really cool. I did Drew Barrymore's wedding. I sang at Drew.
Ah,
So that okay. This isn't crazy. I mean, I've got some crazy ones. I'm not going to tell you those.
yeah.
But let's put it this way. I've done the Playboy Mansion. I've done hustler parties for Christmas. We used to do a hustler party every year, right around Christmas time, for Hustler magazine. So I've done, those parties. It's just women are paint. They don't wear clothes. The girls, the models there, they just paint them, but it looks like they got an outfit on, but it's paint. It's amazing.
Wow.
That was pretty cool. But yeah, I've done a bunch of those. But doing Drew Barrymore's wedding, we were doing Spasmatics and we're dressed up as nerds, And I remember a girl in front of me, one of the prettiest girls you ever see in your life, besides my wife. And you see this pretty, and she's like in front of me, and like we go backstage on a break, and I'm like, "Ooh, did you guys see the girl in front of me?" They're like, "Dude, that's Scarlett Johansson." I had no idea who it was. I didn't know who it was. But I was mesmerized. I'm singing, and I'm like mesmerized. And Jimmy Fallon got up and sang Jesse's Girl with us that night. So there's been like a lot of really fun celebrity moments that I've done, like that have been really cool, like that. Like I did a gig and
those like the hostler gig, where was that? Like in a mansion, something like that, or
the Playboy Mansion. I did the Playboy Mansion, and that was like at the mansion in the back.
Really?
Yeah, where the grotto is and all that. They had stage stuff. It's a huge property. And there was like a famous rapper. I don't remember who played, but they didn't care anything about the band I was playing with. We were doing an '80s thing, but we played like a half hour. They're like, "Yeah, you guys are done. Just party." They were waiting for there was some rapper coming. That was like the big thing. So they were like, "Yeah, we'll just wait for the rapper to come." And it was like, "All right, cool." But that was, was cool. But then the hustler parties, some of them were at I believe the Hilton, from what I remember, like it was their Christmas party. And the guy that owns Hustler, I don't know if he passed away, but he was crippled. He was in a wheelchair. He was always there, sitting right in the front. And that was a corporate band, a wedding band called Soulville that I sang with forever. Yeah, like there's some real famous guys in that band. Eric Marienthal played sax in that band. Like to be surrounded by these musicians when I was like I'm not a great musician.
Still figuring it out.
I was still trying to figure it out. And I never stopped. I used to ask every great singer. There's a guy named Gavin who passed away, who was just phenomenal. And I would be backstage. I'm like, where did you sing like? Where did you sing like this? He's like, well, we're from Chicago. My brothers were singers, and I'm like a tenor, but I want to sound like my brothers were baritones, and I want to sound big. And these guys, his voice is just massive, beautiful soul voice. He was. That was just like those experiences, but they don't really like talking about singing. I could never learn anything.
Yeah, it's like it's my own thing. I don't. Yeah.
Who wants to?
That's my technician there, and he's a baritone, by the way, so that's even more funny. So actually,
that's so funny.
So actually, do you believe in at least in pop, in rock, in vocal fach, like in vocal types, like is that really a thing? Because I've heard some people say like, but Bono is a baritone. That's full of shit. I don't get why he's a baritone, for example. So I don't know. What's your take on this?
It's such an awesome question because I have my little thing. I think when your technique isn't really good and you don't really like, there's some people that are just like, I have a student that when he talks on middle C. And most of us, I'm talking down.
Sol, fa, yeah.
He talks on middle. He's, hey,
how are you?
How you doing? It's not like we're talking here. I get excited, I talk higher, but most of the time my voice is right above
you. The middle, yeah.
So, I mean, I think when your technique is, when you don't really have technique and you're just kind of going for it, then it kind of like it'll play in, because a true tenor, you know, like that can kind of speak up to an A4. You could just speak up there.
Oh my God.
Almost, you know what I mean? If you really just kind of stretch it out, so it might not be too much of a strain for them. But I think when you get your technique down, like I've had it doesn't make sense to categorize pop. Yeah, I agree. I think, and depending again if what their technique is like, I think, because I've had people come to me and they'll go, "Oh, my last teacher says I'm a bass baritone," and I go, and I keep this guy's voice on my phone. I should get it. He's a real bass baritone, and when you hear his voice, I go, "Is your voice like this?" And I play it, and they go, "No, it's not like that." I'm like, "You're not a bass baritone, bro." Like, this guy's voice, I should do. Give me 1 second, because you'll love this. You'll love it. Check this out. So this is me taking, and I got him to sing to in a scale to a B flat. And,
oh, wow, okay.
Obviously,
bass baritone.
And he's this low voice. When you hear his voice, you're going to be like, oh. So whenever I get a student that thinks they're that, I go, your teacher was wrong, and then I'm going to show you why. Ready? Listen to this voice. Right here. It gets stronger.
How low is that?
Going low. It goes off the keyboard. It goes to the lowest C. It's still got tone.
And honestly, then from a classical perspective,
right,
it would be like a young baritone. Like it's not even that low. So
well, it keeps going, but still, like if you train that, it would just get stronger and stronger. He's just a pop singer.
Yeah,
sings for a top 40 band like in New Jersey, and you know he wants to sing higher. But I'm like, dude, I got to put this on tape, because when I get a young student that can't even go to you can't go to here. You know, I go. He goes down here.
That's what, like A? You're playing an A?
Yeah, it was an A. And this dude goes down here like it's nothing.
No, it's definitely, and like I said, that's even not that thick of a voice, you know, to where my ear is accustomed to. So if you sing higher than that, you're a tenor basically. And my point, I guess, with my question too, I kind of was trying to find what your opinion of that was. It's like, does it really matters, you know, because you sing what you can sing and that's it. I feel a lot of times I explained like in opera, it's really important because you have an orchestra and you have no mic. So if you cannot project constantly in a register that you're singing, you're kind of done.
I agree.
That's why they created vocal fact, and there's also for and it was the Germans mostly, they created that to kind of gives jobs to categorize people into what kind of job can we give you if we hire you, for example, in a fest contract, with it's a yearly contract, and they just sign you for the year, and they throw you stuff around. So if they know he's a lyric tenor, so I'm gonna think about my season, you know, and how can I plug a lyric tenor voice there if I hire him for a year, you know? So I mean that's why it's a practical thing. It's not supposed to be the contrary, where people are like oh, I don't know what I am, and I don't know, and you know.
A lot of times they're jumping the gun. You know, like when my technique was much different years ago, and I took from a baritone named Daniel Tête. I don't know if you know who he is.
No, I don't.
Out of, I think, Pennsylvania, and he's a teacher, and you know, had a small career or whatever, but he was a baritone. He was very rich, he was super rich when he talked. You could just hear it, you know. It's kind of like that dude. It's very rich. And, you know, but my technique, I didn't know what I was doing then. This is way before I kind of figured it out. but his B flat would rip your face off. His B flat was sick, and he would go to high C's. He could actually do it, but of course his voice rang amazingly in his area, you know, where you were supposed to sing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think that's where people kind of, there's another teacher on YouTube that I follow. I'm not going to remember his name. He's a baritone. He sings at the Met, sings all over the world. You might have seen him. He does.
Lucas mentioned.
Yes.
Oh, and this guy is amazing, man.
Amazing. Okay.
What a fantastic singer.
He's a baritone in opera, but then I go watch him. He's singing like Brian McKnight and all these like, and he sings it beautifully. And you go, well, is he? Well, it doesn't matter in pop at that point, because his technique is so down. He sings whatever he wants.
Yeah, and actually, he's a really funny guy because he did some videos where, because he often gets the comment, just because he has the good high notes, he gets often the comment, oh, but maybe you're a tenor.
Tenor video, yeah.
And then he made a video where he tried to sing Que Gelida Manina from La Bohème, who has the famous high C. Yep. And he just couldn't get there. He was, you see, I'm not a fucking tenor.
I think the name of the video was like, Why I'm Not a Tenor.
But I don't know. Some voices too. That's the thing too. Some voices evolve, and some voices can do many things. Like that's there's a term in Rossini music, particularly. You have what is called a barytenor. Right. And these guys, they sing in the opera. They can sing from A, like that A that you were playing there, to high D sometimes. And they just can't. They can't do it. It's just they're freaks, and you have to accept that the term is barytenor for them, because they can sound like a baritone and they can sound like the tenor, and that's it. And a lot of it has to come up with some level of natural instrument, but a lot of it is also they are masters at singing. Like they really know what they're doing. So, yeah.
I'm amazed at the whole Rossini thing. Like, I don't get it. Like, when I hear the Rossini tenors and...
I know, that's...
I'm like, how... Like, and I've studied, like, I took a couple lessons with Andrew Owens recently.
Really? Wow. He's amazing, man.
Anyone I could study with and learn from. Jack Lavini is someone I've tried to study with. I think someone else that you might know, Giancarlo from Chile.
Monsalve, yeah, you studied with one.
Really? Yeah, we had a couple.
The world's so small.
A couple of really good sessions, because I'm just like, I want to know what all these guys they do, and they all do something really well. Like, I want to know. Like, now that I'm at the point where I can now understand it more, whereas before, trying to be light, and I was never going to understand it. Now I go.
What are some takeaways from? Okay, those three. Let's say if you have to have a takeaway from. I wonder, because I know their voices pretty well, actually. Yeah. So.
Oh wow! Giancarlo, when we worked, and we just each of them I only worked very simple things with. I'm not going to try and do all these things. Andrew, I tried to understand the Rossini thing with him. Explain this to me. How do I do that fast? Because I can't do the fast thing.
Yeah.
I don't know how to get my voice to go that fast, because I like to learn it so I could do R&B runs and soul faster. How can I get faster at these things? And so Andrew, I kind of worked on that, but I was just a failure. Just absolute fail. Giancarlo was more work. He comes from Delmonico. He took from Delmonico's brother, and he also took from one of the teachers that one of the Maloki teachers that was handed down from Maloki. And so I said, yeah, I'm interested. Now let's do it. And we just worked very simple scales, like you hear on the Maloki on YouTube. You go watch him teach those type of things on like an ah vowel, and having. He'd have me show my bottom teeth more, but he was very much about keeping, as we all are, keep the ribs expanded.
Yeah.
Come on, keep those ribs expanded, and just keeping that. And I got every time I take from someone, I take a little bit away. Like, and what I always seem to take away is, don't be afraid to be loud, because I was always taught not to be loud. It's like, don't be afraid to be loud, and just don't let the barrel fall. Every single one of them. Jack as well. Like Jack, he worked some of the trying to get a little bit faster with me too. more working with the sigh, the boyish cry that he talks about.
Yes, I
We
love
worked a
that.
lot of that, which I kind of already was doing that, but trying to get it in that area better. Because he would be like, yeah, you've got these strong high C's, high B flats, high A's, and then it starts, your voice doesn't know where to go. And I'm like, yeah, I want to be faster with that. And I always ask Alex too, how do I get better with that? And you know, they're all kind of the same thing. It takes a little time because that area that's a tough area. I'd much rather sing high C's and B flats for 2 hours than sit with a sharp in a G.
But actually, it's really funny that you're talking about the Rossini, because I mean, if you were to be an opera singer, I think that would be your type of repertoire. Actually, given your voice, you have a sort of high towards the lighter side type of voice in opera.
I wonder though if I could. I feel like I couldn't move that fast. When I hear
it's vocalizing, man. Like you gotta just drill it. You just gotta drill it like crazy.
It's like when I listen to the singers that do this kind of a thing.
That's hot, man.
That makes me crazy. That's Russell White, who everyone should go listen. If anyone is listening, go find Russell White on YouTube, watch him play piano and sing, and you'll just get goosebumps.
Russell White, okay.
Russell White, just phenomenal.
But yeah, you have, man, you have all that in bel canto. You're in a good track, because it's true that vocalize is almost if you do bel canto vocalize, for sure that's gonna help you. Like bel canto meaning Rossini, meaning maybe Donizetti has some stuff with more vocalizers, but yeah, it's mainly Rossini, and even Handel too have some great agility.
I'm going to work with you then, because you're going to teach me how to do it faster. Because I keep fighting my head. I can't do it.
You can do it, man. It's that I would say, or at least for me, I don't know if that's everybody, but for me, that's the easiest thing to get just with work. If you work it, you get it. Wow. Like it's not so much about understanding anything. It's really like you gotta be like the athlete of the voice. Like every day you go to drill for 20 minutes. You know.
But what about the age of the voice? Do you think it has anything to do with the speed? I mean, I'm going to be 52.
It could. Yeah, but your voice sounds to me like very young, to be honest. I don't think so, man. I really think it's because you never did this before, I guess.
Yeah.
Because pop singers, that's actually something that I wanted to get about. Like, there's a lot of I don't know if I think you follow some lessons in the past with Brett Manning.
I never had lessons with Brett.
No, I thought that was the case. Okay.
I studied with a student of his. There's a couple guys that worked, because this is going back years, that I know studied with him, and they were like kind of the same genre. And I would have a lot of conversation, never like a lot of study with them, but just more conversations. Like some of the guys that were really good in his camp. You know, we would just kind of talk about singing, like, because some of those guys are more into the Chris Cornell, the raspy thing. And I had my way of doing it. So we would talk about how we do these type of things. But I never studied with Brett, because, I mean, Brett studied with Seth, and I did study with Seth.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Because, well, I guess where I was going, that type of school, at least it seems to me, I actually I bought I don't know if you know, but in the past, like when I was 20 something, I was a rock singer. So I wanted to sing rock and all that, and play guitar and all that. So I got myself that method from the famous method from Brett Manning, with the CDs and the whole shebang.
Yeah.
And actually, I noticed now with the perspective, I noticed that there's not so much vocalizing as we think it in classical music. In those CDs and in general, in the world of pop, it seems to me that there's a lot of more like making certain noises and mum, and I think that's something that there's something that the classical music could use from that, from the speech level type of exercises. But the contrary too, sometimes it's just good to do a vocalize and how do you sound in the vocalize? Does it sound like shit or does it sound good? And we've lost a little bit of that just like doing a simple. It's like Italian pasta, Italian pasta is not that complicated. It's tomatoes, but great tomatoes.
Yes.
Great quality of pasta, and that's why it's fantastic. So yeah, anyways, it's a little bit of a tangent there.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think there's room, when there's people doing certain the certain different little sounds and things like that. We'll talk about manipulation, a little bit of manipulation. Seth would have to do these things. Seth would actually talk like this, so it would make you feel more comfortable.
I do that sometimes.
Just doing this. And then one thing I'll tell you, I took from Seth and I took from many of his other people that under him. Seth was always a little bit more engaged. Even though he doesn't talk about support, he was very engaged. Whereas a lot of the other teachers were more reinforced falsetto when they would go through their scales. Seth was not. It definitely not. And then I still have some of my lessons on tape, like on my computer that I transferred just to listen every once in a while because it lines up with everything that Giancarlo said, everything that it still lines up. They all line. When a good teacher knows, it lines up. You get all these CVT, Estill, all these singing success, speech limitation, whatever. Guess what? Every single one of those courses is backed from a classical background. See? He was an opera singer. Estill, she was an opera singer. They all come from, like I've talked about the ballerina. They all come from the ballerina.
Yeah.
And they get strong. And then guess what? You sing whatever you want.
Yeah, exactly.
And this is, even Giancarlo, who, giant voice, Spinto.
Yeah. Well, he's a big guy. Huh?
The big guy, he's such a sweetheart. I love that guy. I'm going to send him this if he doesn't watch it because I love that guy. He's awesome. And even him, like all these things just lined up. They all lined up the same, just a little bit different this way. Everything I learned from Alex in Coffin. Oh, she's a little bit different this way. It's a little bit, just slight differences, but the real good ones, all the same, not different. All the main exercises, if you had to take them, everybody who gave me a main exercise, you all just wanted me to sing very clearly, very loud and supported. Yes.
So I think, did you ever met or worked a little bit with, or was it, anyways, with Ingo Titz? I think you had some sort of a connection with him,
Yeah.
the famous ORL.
Yep. Yeah, so through, what's it called? VIP, they called it. There's those different organizations. Vocalize You. Dave Stroud who's a very good friend of mine. He was one of my coaches early on. He would do these seminars, and he asked me to do a seminar on rock singing one time. And so I got to do that. It was super fun. It was for the kids. And then I did it for some of the teachers. We went to another room, and then I worked with some of the teachers on the raspy and the rock and roll thing. And then the next year, I said, hey, I got this guy, Alex, you guys should check him out. I introduced him, and they said, okay, we'll have him come in and do a section on this, like on he did a whole thing of Gigli and Pavarotti and Gianni Raimondi and how their voices all line up. They're all from the same area, same school of singing, and how they all like kind of line up and everything. And at that seminar, the weekend, it was like a weekend thing, Ingo was there. And so I introduced Ingo to Alex. And I got a video of it. Alex just sings is it La Bohème?
Que Gelida Marina or
no, it was La Bohème, right? The end goes.
No, that's Tosca.
Tosca. Okay, so he does that.
Recondita Armonia.
Yeah, Recondita. He sang that outside. We were outside, and he sang it for Ingo right here, and Ingo was just smiling, and they like really hit it off, but nothing ever transpired. They were supposed to we were supposed to do more stuff, but just nothing ever really transpired. But it was cool to see this science guy just like he lit up like a Christmas tree. And then but I don't think I had heard a voice like that in a long time, because nobody in that circle really sings like that.
Yeah.
So it was I thought that was really cool, and I really did. I thought more seminars and master classes would come from that. I really did, but nothing ever really transpired.
And so, what do you know about? Because I think Ingo was one of the pioneers. If, maybe I'm mistaken, but this is what I know about straw phonation. And what do you think about this whole new? It's like a new thing, no? The straw.
Been around. I mean, if you go back on the early Ingo videos, it's years ago. It's maybe 10 years now.
Really?
And it's been happening. Like they kind of figured that out. I don't know who was the first. I don't know if it was Ingo. I'm not sure, but it has been around for a while. They just took it from to to that. You know what I mean? It's kind of like semi-fluted. Seth had been doing those years. Seth's mentor was a man named I can't find anything on this man either. It's so funny. And I knew another singer that went to him named Nate Lamb, another teacher I went to, who's a cantor out of Los Angeles, who studied with. I can't believe it's not coming to me. But you can't find anything on this guy. You can find on Seth's website, I believe, that Seth studied with this man, but so did Nate. But that's where I believe Seth got a lot of his things. But and this is early. This is very, very, very early. Or many, many, many years ago. So I think the straw thing is cool. I think it's really good for some students. I had some students that's, I'll say, hey, why don't we try this? And it doesn't work at all for them. I think for someone that are like, I like it sometimes for a quick warm up. If I don't have a lot
of
it
yourself sometimes.
I do. Yeah. If I don't have a lot of time to warm up and I got to do something, I may do that, or I may just do, like I go through my Burton cough and stuff that Alex gave me. I just go straight through that. But sometimes
the what? The coughing? The what?
Burton coffin.
The Burton coffin. Yeah, okay. Your teacher.
I'll go through those exercises that Alex gave me from him. But because of my background, because I never learned how to use the chords correctly with the breath, sometimes I might be a little loose on that because that's my natural inclination to do from all those years of doing it. So the straw just tightens that up a little bit for me. And I go, okay, there's the compression that I need. There's the closure that I need. Then I can remove it and go through my scales. So I'd much rather sing a vowel than a. Yeah.
Interesting. So Dan, I think can I call you Dan actually?
Yeah, you can call me Frank.
All right, man. So I think for just to light it up a little bit, I thought about showing one of your videos during quarantine. I think you're doing what is this? An R&B song by who did I choose? Is it? Anyways, I wanted to jump to that video clip because I think also it showed a Sam Cooke. So I really wanted to show that one also because I find like the tone of your voice there is really has I don't know, there's some sort of natural tenderness to it that I didn't think that was your gig, And
okay.
And then I heard you do that, and I was like, oh, that's really sweet, And so I wanted to show that. So
Let's do it. Yeah.
Let's go.
Lights turn way down low. The music soft and slow. But someone you love so, that's where it's at. Your whole world's turned upside down, and you're making nice sound with no one else around. That's where it's at. And your heart is beating fast. You're knowing that time will hoping that it lasts. That's where it's at. We go now. Oh, that's where it's at, pretty baby. That's where it's at. Oh, that's where it's at. That's where it's at, pretty baby. And that's where it's at. Oh yeah. Alright, let me tell you this one thing. To say it's time to go. And she says, yes, I know, but just 1 minute, oh. That's where it's at. Oh, no. Oh, that's where it's at, pretty baby. That's where it's at. 'Cause I know that's where it's at. That's where it's at, pretty baby. 'Cause that's where it's at. Oh no. All right, have a good weekend, everybody. Peace. Be safe.
All right, bravo, and that was Daniel Formica. Beautiful interpretation there, and nice guitar playing also. Bravo, man, that's really cool.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, that was Sam Cooke. Yeah, that's it's funny listening to that because I go, all I'm hearing is, "Oh, you're flat there." Oh, oh, that's all I'm hearing. I'm like, I don't want to look at the screen. I'm so glad you muted the screen. I was like, Jesus.
We don't have to look at you when you
That's what
suffer.
you do, man. I mean, drives me nuts sometimes. You know.
Should have put the auto tuner,
Yeah, exactly. Not be afraid of the auto tune.
huh?
Can't do it. Too much of a purist. I'm too old.
So, Dan, actually, I wanted to ask you about a little bit your podcast, because you have a podcast too. I wanted to know what's up with that, and yeah, what's I don't remember what the name is, but anyways,
Real Singers on Singing. So it's kind of like a take from the Great Singers on Great Singing, Jerome Hines
from the book,
Yeah, so
the opera book.
Yeah, it's like all the Real Singers on Singing, and I'm trying to interview people that interest me, and one of like Andrew Owens, because I've been following Andrew since when he was in college.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So people like Andrew, and then like Craig Sirianni that I found that
I saw that one. Yeah,
Monaco, and he's got a huge voice. And then just people that I did one with Alex, then some of the rock guys that are friends of mine, the guys from Steel Panther, like Ralph's a really good friend of mine. He said, yeah, I'll do it. So Jeff Scott Soto, who sang with Journey, those are actual people that I've sang with or played with in the past. And it gets harder and harder to find people that want to do it, and I think would be a really cool interview.
Yeah, for sure.
I have some really good singer friends, but like I said, they're so good, they don't talk about singing. That's just I got to go to my gig, and then they go to their gig, and so they're harder to get the nail down.
Yeah, no, for sure. And what other books could you recommend for people? Do you recommend books in general?
Yeah, I mean, I have every book. I'm that nerd with every book. I got everything from Bernard to Douglas Stanley to I got all the Cesare books. I got all the Cornelius Reed books. I got you name it, I got it. There's nothing I don't have. Who's the other one? Richard Miller. Richard Miller. All the ones I like the best. I tell you, I'm not lying. If someone's a singer and they just want to like they're not sure about their technique, I always say, go get Seth Riggs Singing for the Stars, the first one. Go get those CDs. Listen to really, really tune in to what he's doing. Don't think about it like your speaking voice. Listen to that funny deeper sound that he likes to make. Go, 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 go. Listen to that. This can help you if you go, 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 go. You know what I mean? It's like speech, Seth gets a bad rap, or speech level singing gets a bad rap, like, oh, it's too light. No, those are the teachers that didn't do it right. Seth did not do it like this. You know what I mean? So I'd say that book. I like the Burton Coffin book. It's more built for opera singers that are already opera singers.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't talk about support. So he figures they already know how to support their voice. This is going to fine tune their vowels and how the vowel will determine the register for them and how they can understand, have a roadmap. You're in chest voice, you're in upper chest, you're in mixed voice, you're in vowel register, you're in falsetto, wherever you're going to be. He kind of maps it out. And that really helped me a lot. But I learned it from someone that learned it from someone straight from Coffin.
So,
like Dan Merrick learned it from Burton Coffin. Dan Merrick taught Alex for, 4 years, how long he was at Manus.
Okay.
And at that time Alex was going to Pola. And so like after, I don't know if it was after that or before that he went to Pola, because Alex's wife was Amy was a soprano at the Berlin Opera House straight out of UCLA, I believe.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So they went to live in Germany for like 7 years. And while he was there, he would fly and study with Raimondi.
With Raimondi he studied too.
Yeah, he studied with Raimondi. He would fly and study with Raimondi.
Wow, that's
which is the same school as Pola.
That tenor, he's so amazing.
That's someone I really like too. Like, you don't hear of him much. Like, I would have never heard of his name unless Alex told me.
No.
But when you hear him sing, you're just like, why do I know who this is? Beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, no, that's a crazy voice. Jack Livigny actually too. I think he studied with Raimondi at one point.
Wow. Yeah.
Dramatic voice, that's a really dramatic tenor, or Spinto at least,
Yeah, so he got to go study with him, and then I believe it was before that he had won a scholarship to study with Pola, and that's how we met Pola and learned the breathing and the Pola scale that he would use all the time, and that stuff from Pola. And then years later, he went and studied with Raimondi. And I guess he was telling me stories of how Raimondi, when Pavarotti had voice problems, that's who Pavarotti went to go see. He would go see Raimondi to help him get him back on track. Yeah, and because it's from the same, I don't know the name, Ettore Campalani, something like that.
Campaliani.
Yeah, that's that name there, and that's the same school. That's him, Pola, that whole Modena, Bologna, school. It was fun learning all. Like, I like learning the history of it all. Even though I can't say any of the Italian words and all this kind of stuff, I enjoy it. Like, I listen to great tenors.
But your dad is Italian.
Yeah, but he can't sing.
He can't sing.
No, he'll tell you he can't. I can sing Sinatra. You don't know. No. My dad's Joe Pesci. My dad's literally like hanging out with Joe Pesci. That's what it's like. It's hilarious. So fun.
But a lot of Sicilians great voice. One has to wonder if there's something to the genes. Because really a lot, particularly tenors. I've never heard a Sicilian baritone. Maybe I'm just ignorant, but
I don't know. Yeah, I couldn't even think of the lineage, but yeah, I'm not sure.
Thinking, Di Stefano,
he's Sicilian. Yep.
Yeah, and there's who's that?
All handsome.
All
Sicilian Italian is just handsome across the board.
Big mustaches. So listen, that I'm gonna again go here to my right, see if anybody has a question for you. I think I really like to make people participate.
Yeah.
I think that's an important part. So some people are just mocking you about the autotune. And actually, Alexander Cariotis is around.
Awesome.
So really nice to see that he's watching, and I'm gonna take advantage right now to invite you, Alexander. We talked a lot about it once, maybe 4 months ago, but I would really like to have him here too. discuss and show some of his work too, because I really like the combination of rock and opera that he does. I don't know if he's still. Do you know anything about him right now? He's
Yeah, he's actually getting ready to well, he's a little nervous to record to get the band together, but they're supposed to be doing a recording in Connecticut, at a place called the Power Station, to do more of his where he combines his music with the arias and stuff. But they're supposed to go in December, but he's not sure if he's going to go in because of COVID. So he's like kind of on the fence. I think the time is booked, but they have to wait, and they're gonna.
So this is an album like before, like some of classical stuff,
I think so. Yeah, where he takes like part of an aria, and he intertwines like part of his own song. Then he kind of goes, and he's very musical. I mean, the guy, he plays every instrument. He sits there and plays piano, plays guitar, plays, reads music, teaches how to read. He's just a super musical dude. So he's gonna do another. I believe. I mean, I don't know, but I think it's the same type of album. Yeah, I think it's the same type of thing. Yeah.
So check it out for everybody. Alexander Kariotis. He's like I would say,
he's a nice Greek boy.
Rock opera, maybe that's how you call it. I don't know. But what I like about his crossover is he actually can sing opera, because some crossovers, what happens is like it's just really rock and the guy cannot really sing opera, or the contrary. It's just like Pavarotti and Friends. It's kind of funny, Pavarotti try, but he's really an opera singer. He's there. He cannot sing another way. Yeah. But Alexander really has both styles down to the core. So it's really cool, and not only vocally but musically too. The arrangements are good. That's a really difficult genre because it can become cheesy.
Yeah, and he writes. God, I mean, when he does a lot of the, he'll write the horn charts. He'll write the piano parts. He'll write. It's like. This is my whole life. I couldn't imagine. I don't know how to do any of that. That's amazing. I must have more hours in a day. I don't know what it is. It's crazy.
Well, anyways, Daniel. So I don't know. Do you have any last thoughts? Maybe some recommendations for students watching, because I'm guessing some of your students might be watching, and or some of people in YouTube. The video is gonna be available on YouTube. So some people might be wondering about their own vocal journey. So any general advice that you could give to them?
Don't be afraid. Like, if you've been doing something for a long, like I was not smart. I could have learned this back when I was in Chicago when I was like 29, 30. I didn't trust the man. I was like, really? Like, I just thought, maybe I thought I was better than that. Maybe I was like, how can make me sing this high note, right? How is that going to make me? I just would go there and be like, this just feels weird. I don't know. But like I said, in hindsight, I wish I could remember his name. It's horrible that I can't. But looking back, if I had just taken his advice, I would have beat it way quicker. You know what I mean? And that was my own fault. So I think if you're doing something and the teacher keeps telling you, no, just keep doing what you're doing. Go ahead, flip to falsetto at F sharp or F. Go ahead. And they just keep telling you this, and you've been doing this for a very long time. Do something different. Just try. You know what I mean? Just take the other thing is just, I always do with my students, some things I do is I just take a low note and go, I'm speaking very clearly. And then just take that same phrase all the way through your range. And never stop the way you're saying that. Keep that same conviction. I'm speaking very clearly. I'm speaking very clearly. And just keep on. You'll see your body it needs to support. If you say it the same way, your body's going to start to support it more. And don't be afraid to feel weird things. Don't be afraid to feel something. Because you might feel it here, and it might sound really clear. But you go, but I feel something in my throat. That's okay. A couple months of doing that, and you're never going to feel that again. It's going to be in front of you. I think that's huge. That was huge for me. I wish I had someone tell me that when I was 25, 26, 27. I think my journey would have been shorter. But then again, maybe I would have been one of those guys like, I got it. I don't want to talk about it anymore.
Yeah, you get bored.
Yeah, I'm glad that the journey was huge. Like I said, I got every book on the shelf, which is ridiculous because it doesn't matter the books you have. You know, I've been through the science of it, the classes of it years ago, and I was like, this doesn't interest me. What interests is good singing? Does it sound good? You know, and I think if you're doing something and it hasn't been working, then it's okay to walk away from that teacher and go somewhere else, a totally new thing. Don't feel like you have to stick around. Even if that guy's like, but he's like got so-and-so under his belt. It doesn't matter. He's not right for you then. He's not hearing what needs to be done if you're not getting to the goal that you want to meet. I think that's really important.
All right. And I guess one last question from me, actually, unless somebody has something to ask here, but no, somebody saying Dan is so damn good, a lot of soul. I don't know that name. Who has that name?
Oh, video. Yeah, that's his like. I don't know. It's like
okay. His name is not Video, huh?
No, his name is Bob.
Okay, I call him Bob then.
Bobby boy.
All right, so yeah, he's really happy about. I think it's about your interpretation of the song, and Luke is back. Well, Luke, if you have any questions, this is a kind of last call for questions. I have a last question for myself, actually, because this is a very popular topic, and I forgot about it. I wanted to ask you sooner. The whole falsetto, falsetto and registers. What is mixed? Well, let's start with falsetto, and then I wanna maybe take your opinion on what's falsetto, what is mixed voice. Mostly those, because I think for most of us it's clear what chest voice is, anyways.
Yeah.
So yeah, I wanted to
Yeah, I guess so. Again, the Burton Coffin, the method that I tend to use the most, the one that I like to concentrate on, in his interpretation for men, you have straw bass or straw bass, chest voice. So you have chest voice, upper chest voice, mixed voice, vowel register, falsetto, another falsetto that kind of sits, which I guess you could, maybe that starts to be, some people call that flageolet maybe, but he called it
like a whistle.
Yeah, well, he would call it super falsetto, then whistle. So it's like another falsetto. It's just like a step higher. It's like you close again. So each of these things, it's kind of like the way Seth would say, you have bridges, and each of these bridges has a certain amount of notes. So, and then in girls, he would say, in women, he would say, they have Keller, and then chest voice, and then instead of calling.
Wait a second. Sorry to interrupt you, Daniel.
Keller.
What is Keller? Is that the?
Keller and straw bass. I don't know. I think it's straw bass. Is I guess it's kind of like vocal fry, sort of. Maybe with a little bit more tone. I'm not sure. I don't really think about it much, so I just kind of go from chest up. Like, I'm just going by what he says in his book. So then you have chest. In women, that he doesn't call it upper chest. He calls it middle voice. Whatever. Mixed voice, vowel register, head voice, whistle, super whistle. I think that's the route he goes.
And you yourself, you stand by that.
I like it because it breaks it up. It makes it very simple. There's a roadmap, and I can understand how to get to whistle. I can understand if I just stick to these rules, I'm going to get in there. If I try to go around the rule, like people try to go around the passaggio and not go straight through it, you're going to have a problem, So, but falsetto for me is exactly what falsetto is. It's got maybe has some air to it. It's unsupported. You find it much easier on oo and e than you would other vowels. And
for example, is I don't know if you've probably heard of countertenors in classical music. Are they singing in falsetto? The high notes. I'm not the other.
I believe it's just they have a really strong reinforced falsetto for that. I don't train countertenor, so I can't say in my professional opinion, but from what I know, it's just pretty much they're singing in falsetto up there, but they have a facility for the falsetto that's very strong. So when they're doing their high notes, it could almost sound connected or supported, you know. And I'm sure if you worked it, your falsetto would be very strong.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
So okay, so for you, and what's the difference with that and a mixed voice, for example?
Mixed voice is a register that I feel lies like, or it gains a strength E, F, F sharp, G, the passaggio, that area, and it's in between upper, and then vowel register lies in between there. And to me, what it is, it sounds so confusing, and it's not. It's just you find it by having closed vowels in that area. So it's more of a covered sound. If you want to use the word covered, turned, it's right. It's like you right before you turn, and then you turn in it as well. You get over to the other side, which I know you've probably seen. Jack does a video where he does the E, F, F sharp, G. It's heavier, chestier. Then you get over to the other side, and it gets heavier. It's that. I feel closed vowels find that really easy. If you're just singing, you know, O, small O, like boat, and those in that area, you'll feel what that's like. If it's not the real vowel, then you're not going to feel it. It has to be really pure. I mean, it can't be like O is a diphthong, as we know. O. So if you go, oh, it's like, no, that's not O, or it's not the O we're looking for to put you in mixed voice. Oh, that puts me in a mixed voice.
Okay, so what you did there is more of a mixed voice thing.
Yeah, I feel something different happen. Something different is going,
And the difference between that, is there a difference for you in feeling, like in the throat, between that and just doing a pure falsetto?
Yeah, because there's no pressure in the falsetto. I don't feel any support. I don't feel any support on that. Yeah. So on the other one, I would feel support, but you can kind of go between the
support meaning.
Like I kind of go in between the two. It's just, support meaning what? A supported tone, I guess. I don't, unsupported. It's not very supported. Versus a really supported tone. I feel support has to do with two things: the closure of the chords, and then the pressure, the subglottal pressure underneath it, and they work together. If the space is, if the chords are loose and kind of open, you're not going to get it. If the chords are nice and taut, pulled nice and tight, and they're nice and taut and they're together, you're gonna feel, now I have something to work with.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's something that it was striking for me too. And Jack taught me the lesson that he's like, okay, you can think of leading in the stomach or in the back or in whatever, but if your chords don't close, are not abducting properly,
right?
You have nothing to lean against because it's like your valve is open,
Yeah.
So here it's like your chords are kind of controlling that air. And if they are just open, you cannot lean against anything. That's basically that was his take on that a few years ago. So he told me like something like, you got to find the right sound before finding the support kind of thing.
That to me, that makes a ton of sense. Like you got to find the sound, and then you'll start to feel, what's that? And then you can start leaning on that, like meaning you don't let the ribs collapse, but you surge the sound. Like Alex would say, now surge that sound. And you could feel your body go, whoa. It's like you can feel, and it's like, you're dealing with the pressure, you know what I mean? It like works, and then the sound gets really clear. As long as the place, you talk about placement, we didn't talk about placement at all, but to me, that has a lot to do with it. And as long as that's where I think speech level singing makes a lot of sense. Just where you talk is a good placement.
Yeah. Okay, but I'm gonna play the contrarian here.
Yeah.
What if you talk like a shit, like, hi, how are you? Then,
unless you have some kind of weird impediment. Yes.
Or I don't know, or a particular, hey, how are you, Dan? How are you? Are you gonna really place there? I don't know. That's my main.
Then you have to find that nasopharynx. You have to find. Alex would give me a thing that Burton Coffin would do called an open mouth hum. So if you do an open mouth hum, it's in my nose. My mouth is open. I'm covering, and I'm just saying, I'm covering my mouth. Now, obviously, we wouldn't want to sing like this, but when I move my hand, it's not in my nose anymore, but it's right behind it. And then you get that that really clear clarity of sound. Versus or
Yeah.
You don't want that. You want and if you could just make everything, take that, put that away, everything goes there, then you're going to have a clear sound. That's what I love about Alex's voice. Super clear throughout his range. It's just always boink. It's in front of him. Whereas some people, it's a stuffed up and it doesn't have clarity.
Yeah, that's a lot of opera singers, particularly larger voices, have that problem.
Yeah,
because you know they're trying to keep this darkness to the voice,
right?
And sometimes it's artificial, sometimes it's not. You know, so it's but I've seen it mostly with heavier, like heavier meaning to like lower. You know, like lower type of like sometimes baritones, dramatic. Sort of tenors, not all of them, you know, because that's another.
See, I think if you could find that balance, if you could teach, I think if more people learned like that, it's not a hum, it's not closing your mouth because that does something weird. It's actually saying the vowel, whatever vowel it is, behind your hand, or this way, and your mouth. My mouth is open, saying the vowel, but it can't come out because it's covered. Yeah. So the sound comes out here.
You feel that stretch.
And then you just move your hand and it's right there. You get the zing, and then hopefully you have the nice depth of the vowel that you're trying to sing as well. And you get that.
Yeah, and actually what I can observe from that is actually also a little bit of where you're talking with the straw. Is that what you're doing, this? You're creating a sort of artificial like,
absolutely 100%
counter pressure that is gonna kick in your support whether you want it or not, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's interesting, that exercise. I had a baritone friend that he would actually vocalize with a pillow on his face.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, are you fucking crazy? I don't know how you can do that. And he's, no, it's great for the voice. And then I tried, and I kind of understood it. I didn't get it like him, but I understood, because you feel that sense of pressure coming up, that if you kind of keep it, it helps. It helps for the support, anyways.
Yeah, I know a couple of rock singers that do that. And they
with
sing
a pillow.
Great. They scream into a pillow as their warm up. I'm like, what are you guys doing? They're like, you'll see. And then they go out and sing, and you're like, okay, they're doing something right, because that's insane. Yeah.
All right, then let me check again. Last time, this is last call for the chat. Yeah, I guess. Oh, oops, my computer is. Luke, I don't know who is probably one of your students or your friends. Luke, he says, "What if you talk like me?"
Yeah, he's from Australia. So when they say, I'll be like, Luke, you got to say, oh. He'll say, nair, air. No, it's oh, nair.
So are you teaching him?
I used to, yeah.
Okay.
But we became friends. We actually we became really close friends, and we're both in kickboxing, Muay Thai together. And we met our families, me, my daughter, and my wife, and him, his daughter and wife. We all met in Thailand together, and we got to train kickboxing and Muay Thai there. And so he was a student to begin, but then we became friends over the years.
Oh, great. Are you still? So you're still keeping with the martial arts?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I love it.
I find there's a lot of similarities there with voice and
Giancarlo is big into it.
Giancarlo, yeah.
Yeah, he's big into martial arts. We talk about that a lot. We talk about that in diet more than we do singing when I talk to him.
Yeah, well, that dude, you don't want to fight with him, because I tell you, he's bigger than he looks, and at least in the videos.
Oh, that guy's just handsome. My wife sees pictures of him. She's like,
yeah.
God, come on.
You know, he came to sing in Montreal. That's how I met him. Well, he's actually friends or connaissance with tenor from Montreal. That is one of my best friends
Okay.
because they are from Chile, both of them.
Yeah.
And he came to singing in Tosca here in Montreal like 2 years ago. And that's how I got
That's cool.
to know him. Yeah, we went out. Very nice guy. Very
Yeah, I
very
really like
nice. Answered all my questions. You know, he went even extra mile. You know, like went to dinner with us, and yeah, and then he was a lot about more. I would say he has a lot of the schools. That's when you see the difference in the schools. I would say his school is sort of, even if they align, is very different from, for example, a Jack Livigny or a Fisichella, you know, because
Yeah, he's kind of. What does he say? He said he was Garcia. Also, he studied with, I think, Morella Frani. He studied with Morella Frani.
Frani, yeah.
Same with, that's the Ettore Campana. That's that school with Pola. That's the same school. And then the Delmonico Malocchi, that school.
Yeah. Which is more of a, I would say his voice is more of a verismo approach, which is more, it's a little bit more, I don't know how to qualify, but like more powerful singing, like you have to sing loud, you know, like if you compare to an Audrey Owens, it's not the same. It's more about agility and going really high,
right?
That kind of thing, which is not, and they don't sing the same repertoire neither.
Right.
It's really, yeah. Anyways, man.
Cool.
So well, thanks, Dan. It's
Thank
amazing
you.
to have.
I really appreciate it.
To have this luck to talk to you, man. Because I mean, it's always, I get bored of classical singers, you know.
Right.
No, I like to have a different perspective, and also to also remark that it's not so different, you know, and that's why I like when I heard you too the first time, I said, you see, it's not so different as with what people think, you know, like opera and pop, at least for the what we call in French chanteur à voix, like voice singers, because there are it is very different. For example, for some styles that are more like relaxed, you know, like
yeah. Billie Eilish and that style of singing. Like, I understand that's singing. It's just a different thing. And so, but the stuff that I wanted to sing, I couldn't just do it that way. I had to learn something in here. I had to learn something new.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, man. So, anyways, wish you the best luck, and we'll be in contact around.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much for having me, dude. I really appreciate it. This was really fun. I was looking forward to it. Like, I took a shower and everything. So this is good.
All right, man. Thanks. Thanks. And for everybody, before leaving, I wanted to remind you about the concert that we're going to put up with La Scena Musicale, the virtual concert on the December the 20th. That's coming on. And also about, I don't know if we have the little publicity there. It's so anyways, it's December 20th at 3. So 3 to 5. We have great opera singers. We have I don't know if we have some. Well, we're gonna sing in mostly Christmas songs, so that type of repertoire. And I remember you also, we have the podcast for this type of programs. So we have also just audio podcast edition. And that's it for today, folks. I don't know who's gonna be the next invite yet, so I'm not gonna say. But we're working some things, and like I said to Alexander Kariotis, if you feel interested in coming, I invite you. That would be a lot of fun. And thanks so much to Dan for this wonderful interview, and opening our eyes to new worlds, and giving us how a perspective that for some people, they might have thought that it was really far away, but it's opera, it's singing at the end, and good singing comes from principles like support, vocal cord closure, etc. All the things that he talked about. We will be releasing a podcast about this in around 3 weeks if everything goes well. I want to thank also to all the team of La Scena Musicale for making it possible, and particularly to my dear friend baritone Charles Brocchiero, who is in the controls right now. My technician had some sort of exam. He's still in university, and Charles jumped at the opportunity. Maybe I'll be interviewing him in the future. I'm doing some projects with him too in the Time Travel Quartet. For that, we'll be having a little number there in the Christmas concert for La Scena too. So that's it, folks, and thanks a lot, and have a great night. And thanks again to Daniel Formica. Check him out. Really interesting videos in YouTube, and he teaches also if you're looking for a good rock, pop, and even some opera he can teach you now. Check him out. All right, you're still there. All right, thanks, Dan, and good night, everybody. Take care.
Thank you, man. Bye-bye.